did. Yeah, you said.
Yeah, I learned full top first back when John Gaynor was really fast, and I was like, this looks fun. I might like his tutorial was just clear. There were no clear tutorials on V first, so I was like, I'll learn this, and it made sense to me, so I just learned it. I never learned how to turn correctly, so I have a lot of finger tricks that are just dumb.
Yeah.
Um, and I've never learned how V first actually works. All I do is like make a V, solve the back edge. So I'm basically just doing top first anyway. And then I do last three edges. So
Okay.
I need to understand how to turn. Like, I don't know if I should be doing U moves from the back of the Pyraminx or from the front edges. I don't
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
how many algorithms, if any algs to learn for L4E. I don't know what good V building looks like. Like, I don't know anything about V first. So I just want good foundations
Yeah.
for everything.
Yeah. I got you. Okay, so the good news about this is I know where you're coming from. I was a top first solver until like 2021. So I know a bit about your background. I relate to it, and yeah. Do you have what's your email? What email should I share this document to?
Yeah, BTRUE 813 at gmail.com. Perfect.
Okay, perfect. So I figured we'll go over for 12 solves. Um, Also for Pura's scrambling orientation, because in the description he said you don't know how to do that. It's green front, yellow bottom.
Green front, yellow bottom. Okay, cool. I can do that.
Yeah. Okay. Do you remember these solves well? Do you remember what you were thinking and stuff, or no?
Dude, I've done like 50 Pure solves in total since I messaged you.
Okay.
Like, this was, I don't
Okay.
remember any of what I was thinking.
Okay. Okay. So a few things with this first solve. So it kind of looks like you just solved centers randomly, and you rotated during it. They kind of look like you just solved centers and then started inserting like one piece
Yes,
at a
because I
time.
didn't see anything. Like, I
Okay.
didn't see anything, and I was like, well, might as well just get going.
Yeah. So the things that stuck out to me in this solve were there's not really any block building fundamentals. Um, your tip solutions were kind of random. I can get into what I mean about that in a second. And at the end you had hold on, why am I being dumb? Um, I think you had which hold
It
on,
was
I need
two
to like
matching on the left, and then the edge on the right. The
you had
bottom
you
color is
had
on the right.
yeah. So you had this case.
Yeah.
I noticed that you flicked from the back at
hmm
the end of your move. That's a bit awkward because so when you're doing so this algorithm starts off of a hedge, and what do you notice about like this pointer finger?
Yeah, it's right there already. Okay, so I
It's
think I
already
think it
right
would be
there,
more
so it's
helpful
easy.
if I just ask a bunch of questions about how principles of things work, and we
Yeah,
don't go
sure.
over solves individually, because I think
Okay.
there's a lot of knowledge that I don't have, that if you
Yeah.
start critiquing specifics, I'll be like, okay, so you're right, but I didn't know that until just now. And I'd
Yeah.
rather do that, and then we can go over the solves. So for
Yeah.
turning,
I was gonna get
home
there, but
grip
that's
looks
fine.
like this, right? Like
Yeah.
these rest on these pieces here.
Yeah. I kind of rest mine like on this. I kind of rest my fingers like on these two sensors here.
Okay, okay.
So
And
on
then
the
for you moves,
ring
you should
pinky.
always be turning from here.
I wouldn't. Yeah. For now, yes. One of the things I was gonna teach you today is you should have like two ways of doing U moves and two ways of doing U prime moves. You should be able to do U moves both with flicking with your right pointer finger on this edge.
Mm-hmm.
And you should also be able to do them by pulling with your left pointer finger.
Sure.
And there's a few times in your solves where I noticed this would be useful, but you should get comfortable with both to avoid regrips. Like for example, if you're doing R U R prime, I see a lot of beginners like regrip for U because they only do U moves with flicking with their right hand. So notice how to regrip in order to use my right hand here.
Yeah, so you're saying do it with
left hand
this.
here. Yeah.
Good news is I do that for 3v3 all the time anyway, and everybody tells me to stop, but I'm supposed to do that here, so that's good.
Yeah, and it's like same with U prime moves. Like you should do U prime moves with flicking against this edge or pulling against this edge.
Yeah. Okay. So that's U moves.
Yeah,
and so it's just not good to regrip up to here for it.
There's no need to because it takes extra time to stick it to the back, right? And it's also just a bit more awkward. It kind of requires you lifting your hands up to a grip that's just not comfortable. Like from this grip, you can get into sledges and inserts pretty well. From this grip, you kind of can't unless you change your wrist position again. See what I mean?
Yeah. So flip, it's better to do this into this.
Yeah, on your two flips, I saw you used like the Drew Brad style two flip. Like you used the old hardware two flip. You kind of like did it all.
Yeah, because this feels so awkward. Like whenever I do this, my thumbs like bump into each other, and like it gets all gummed up. Was just, like my reason for that was I know like on paper this is faster, but until now this has been so much more consistent in practice. I just did it that way. Yeah. But this is like clearly better, and it's pull here for the optimal finger trick.
Yeah, that looks good to me. How's your hardware?
These are the whatever Steven's latest creation are.
Okay.
LVL way long.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got the one that you're using, the RS, over in the drawer, but it feels like the plastic feels really thin to me.
Fair enough. I'm like the only one that uses it. Like one of the only ones at the top level that uses it. Okay. I'm looking at your finger tricks. Yeah, your finger tricks look good. So like this might sound a bit odd, but like I think you should do like a lot of like finger trick only practice. Like
yes, definitely.
One of the ways I got good at a waist turning, Pyra turning, and like clock pinky D moves. I'm not good at clock, but that is something that took me time to get used to. But I did a lot of like mindless turning practice while doing other tasks. Like while talking to friends, I'll just work on a new Pyra finger trick, just like mindlessly, or just like turn a Pyra or a cube one-handed while watching TV or YouTube. I think that like you want to have good finger tricks in your solves. You don't want your solve time. You want your solve time to be dedicated to working on the new things you learned. But I think just doing like mindless turning practice can help get you used to the finger tricks.
Yeah. Real quick on the sides of your Pyraminx, like my hands are already getting sore. Like right here, I can feel things like starting to get a little sore. Like my hands are not used to gripping this way. Are your middle fingers resting right here on this piece?
I rest. I don't really think it matters whether both are or not. I kind of have like one middle finger resting right here, and the other one's in the bottom.
Underneath.
So I kind of regrip for lefty turns to both on top.
That's really helpful. I thought the grip had to be symmetrical, but if you put this finger underneath like this, you're right. Now my hands are in a more natural position to turn quickly.
Yeah. I think.
Okay.
I mean, there will be slight regrips between that during the algorithms. That should come naturally with due time. But
that helps a lot, though. Like I can feel the tension going away already because my hands can be a little bit better.
Yeah, it's an awkward shape, but get used to it with time. It feels more natural to me than a cube at this point.
Okay, so always use front U moves where you're turning here. This home grip thing is really helpful. Asymmetrical home grip. What about B moves? When I was doing top first, the only thing keeping me from doing like rotation lists was having to figure out B moves. And I still don't understand. Like, I know you can push like right here. I know if you're in an R or an L prime position, you can like flick from there. But practically, what do you end up needing to do in solves? How do you think about B moves and rotations?
Yeah, one of your B moves and one of your solves looks pretty good. Um, for me, I kind of base the way I think I
What
treat
a
my B
compliment.
move.
You had one B
Yeah.
move one time that was good.
Well, it was. One of them you did like this type of finger trick, and it looks pretty solid. Um,
Yeah.
I I have a tendency to rel I mean, you could there's a few ways you could do it. I think it depends on the continuation and the rest of your V. But also at your level, I'll just do what feels most comfortable and as reliable. I wouldn't rotate in one of your solves, like you had a one move V and you did R and then rotated. Um, I would suggest trying to use your middle finger here, maybe, if this is comfortable. Like for B moves, pushing on the back edge of your middle finger, B prime, other middle finger. Um, that's what I do, and it feels pretty natural. I know a lot of people also use their pointer finger in the back, like this. I believe that's technically better, but I find that it often leads to me accidentally doing U moves because it's kind of pushing against the same edge.
Yeah, you have to like
It'll
if you're
require,
gonna do
yeah,
the pointer finger, you have to like move your thumb up to cover this so that as you pull here, this doesn't move forward.
yeah. Um, Also,
Wait.
like you can kind of like sometimes treat it like a U move. Like you kind of rotate the Pyraminx half up. You can kind of like use like U move finger
Mm.
tricks on it. Not a complete rotation, but like half of one. You can kind of treat it like a U move. See what I mean? I kind of bring my thumbs
Yeah,
up a
the
little
U move
bit.
is more of like tricking your brain into getting your pointer finger in a good spot.
Yes,
This is awkward. Feel like a
it's gonna be
baby learning how to walk.
it's yeah, it's gonna be awkward, and it still is awkward at my level. I think I think any one of those three should be fine for now. But I mean, I know that it's not usually recommended at the top level to like do the U move type thing like I do, but I've gotten way of it, and I'm pretty okay.
Okay, so in theory, I should not be doing rotations ever in a pure solve.
No, no,
And then B moves are going to be push with middle finger here or here. And
yeah,
then occasionally you can do like a reach around UB move, or you
yeah,
can grab the back, the UB edge and like pull like that.
yeah. Ideally, ideally, like you should be seeing your B move. I mean, the B move is only going to come around in your V, and there shouldn't ever really be more than one B move in your V. Maybe two, but like if you see a B move in your inspection, I would just like try to think about in inspection how you feel most comfortable turning the B move, given the continuation and rest of your V.
Okay, cool.
Like I find like doing a B move like the B prime move like this into an R prime flows well together. Or like yeah, it'll require experimentation. I think there's some room for like personalization in it, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Like my philosophy is in sprint events, like the solve is so short that your comfort and what you're good at or bad at really does matter. Like
Yeah.
if you look at the top pyramid solvers, like all like in the top 10, most of them have like slightly different styles when it comes to execution, when it comes to tip solutions. And I think it's because like when it's when the solve is so fast, you need to be comfortable with every step, and sometimes things just aren't suitable for everyone. Like Harsha, for example, does tips very differently than I do, just by virtue of him having bigger hands than me. And he's probably faster at it, but still, what he does is just not feasible for me.
Yeah. So
At least I don't believe so.
I think we're close to being able to go back into just going over all my solves, but with tips, what I've been doing is like, if I have an R or an L, solve one or two at the beginning. If there are
Yeah.
four tips, then I'm just screwed and I have to like figure out how to do the B one and then solve the U tip at the end. I see
Okay.
some people that like pick the the puzzle up, and they like, do all of them at once.
Yeah.
And I've seen some people who solve everything before they get to L4E. Is it who does what, and what are the pros and cons of each different method?
Yeah. Lincoln does B-tip last, but I think he's the only one that does that, and I don't know if I would recommend it. Because
He does
B-tip's
B-tip last?
yeah, it's weird.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Why? Like he solves everything and then this is his finisher?
Yeah. I don't know if he still does that, but I know there was a point at which he did. Um, I know
Interesting.
I know Jasper does like one or two at the end. Like he likes to mix them. Um, Harsha does all of them at first. I think that's what most people do. Most people do all in the beginning. I usually do if I have a four tip scramble, I either do all of them in the beginning or free in the beginning and save like the R tip for last, or the B tip or the U tip, one of those.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I wrote some notes for you about this. But I think you seem to have larger hands, right?
Um, maybe. I don't think I do, but
Okay, maybe
it
not,
might
maybe
just be
not.
me.
But maybe not. But either way, you should start solving your tips simultaneously. Try to get, try to get like free. Try to get like free. If it's a four tip scramble, try to get three in the start and leave one at the end, if possible. Do all four for start. And this is probably faster, but I don't think it's feasible for all. But you should start noticing like different combinations that work well together. First, I'd like to say that in your solves, I saw that you did wrist turn for the B tip. B tip's actually my favorite tip. I think it's the most easy. You can just slide your middle fingers back, like left middle finger for B move, B tip, right middle finger for B prime. And you can kind of do it without like having to rotate the cube at all.
Right. And you don't really need to reposition yourself at all. It's just that's
Yeah,
easier than a B move. It's less anatomical movement than a U move. So you should be able to just like, whoop.
yeah, it's my favorite tip. Like I can just kind of do it quickly without having to change my hand much at all. Um, but there's certain combinations that go really well together for simul moves. Like if I have a B tip and a U prime tip of my scramble, do you notice how I kind of do them in the same motion?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah, if it was a B prime and a U, it would be a bit more awkward. I would probably bring my thumb up and do it like this. Or maybe I'll do a B tip and a flick like this. In
Mm-hmm.
general, I was just doing, or also like, you can also kind of like bring your thumb up. But I try to do like, I usually suggest doing three with one hand and like one tip with the other. So like, see how on my Pyrrha, I can kind of do the B and U prime move and the L prime move in one motion.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can do the R tip at the same time with just like basic finger tricks.
I see what you're saying. So you're saying that on pickup, if you can get your left hand to do three and your right hand to do one, then
Or
you're
the other way
good.
around. Yeah, or the other way around. Like you can
Right. But
also
you
do
can
like something like
easily get
this.
three tips in one hand and then the
Yeah.
remaining in the other hand, and then just go from
Yeah.
there.
There's certain patterns that go really well together. Like B and U moves go well together. Um Sometimes you might want to like bring your thumb up and do like something like this, maybe.
Hmm.
Um like L and U moves can be done with a pointer. Same with R and U. There's different combinations that exist, and it might seem daunting because there's so many different combinations. But I think if you do tip only scrambles, or if you just there's two ways to practice this. You can do tip only scrambles and just play around different tip configurations, different combinations. Like if you have four tip scramble, being like, okay, I could solve this like this, or I could solve it like this.
Right.
And so I think you play around with it enough, eventually it'll just become natural for you. And you can also do down solves. One of the ways I like to practice, I should probably add this to your documents, but I like to practice by doing the same scramble over and over again and changing a small thing slightly. Because again, I think comfort is extremely important in Pyraminx because it's an awkward shape. which makes it easier to lock up, and lockups are a bigger
Yeah.
deal in sprint events. It takes up a higher percentage of your time. But I'll do like the same scramble like 4 or 5 times, and each time it changes something different about how I execute the tips, or maybe how I execute my L4E or something. But
Yeah.
for you, I think if you do the same scramble a few times and just try different tip configurations, making sure you're not doing any bad habits like wrist move B tips, but just like trying like playing around with your left and right hand for tips. Eventually, just figure out what's comfortable for you, and just going for it will help you improve your turning and just like your general flow.
Yeah, so more pick a strategy and stick with it as opposed to like there's one best way to do it. As long as I'm
Yeah,
picking the strategy that fits my
yeah,
hands and what I can visualize.
yeah. I don't think there's like a clear consensus on what's best for tips. I think it's generally preferred to do as much as possible in the beginning, but there are definitely good solvers who leave like one or two for the end. Sometimes I leave an R tip for the end, and as I'm doing like AUF, I'll do a simul move on my tip or something like that.
Yeah.
Or sometimes if I'm ending with an R prime, I'll just like do an R after, because I find that my hand's already set up, and I kind of find that I can just like do it while stopping the timer.
Yes.
That's a bit risky because it's like kind of awkward. It's kind of easier to overturn, but I've gotten away with it, I think. Do you have anything you want me to clarify or any other questions?
That all makes sense so far. I'll just go for the 4 tips at the start for like 1,000 solves or so and see if I like it. I like it in
1,000? That's a
theory.
lot.
It's Pyrrha. That's not that
Yeah.
bad. That's like a couple days.
No, I'm happy to hear it. You're more motivated than most of my students.
Well, like I want to get good, and
That's awesome.
it's fun.
I respect it.
So,
Let's go.
okay, so let me see tips. You can so do the 4 tips at the start. Probably experiment with it. B moves are good. Understand the principles of finger tricks now. Cool. Okay, so now we can rip apart my V's and bad decision making and how L4E works. So we can go through solves, or you can explain principles. You can choose how to do the rest of it.
Yeah. It'll take a little bit of time for me to watch all 12 solves here and break them down. So I think I'll just share a few of my general takeaways from each of the solves and how I
Yeah,
would
please.
practice it. Yeah. On the first solve, I think you said you saw nothing. So you kind of solved the centers and then just inserted the edges. I want you to start like block. I don't want you to ever just solve centers first. You should always be solving at least one edge with your centers, and I'll get into how to practice that in a second. But also you should learn how to do insertions from multiple angles. Like I saw that like you really don't ever do back insertions. Like see how this edge has to go into the back?
Yeah, you can just
Yeah, you weren't really doing anything like that. You would rotate it and insert it. Or like
that's a good point.
even for this one, you can just insert it to the back. And I saw you do stuff like this pretty often. So like you can insert, and also like you should learn to insert like with LU prime, LU prime L prime, LU L prime, like R prime.
Yeah, I know that in theory. I guess I just
Yeah.
wasn't doing it.
You already do it, and like yeah, there was a lot of opportunities where you missed that, and you had like 2 or 3 rotations in your solves. Yeah, in general, like you shouldn't need more than one of those per solve, because I'm gonna want you to start block building your centers plus one edge. But yeah, I mean it's 3x3 knowledge. You can kind of translate it. It's just back. It's the same as doing like a back insert F2L. I already taught you that like you shouldn't do this out with a back U move, like you kind of flick from here. I already taught you that. And what was the other thing? Yeah, so I said in my comments I wrote that you had no block building fundamentals, which to me means like you should probably be working on your V solutions also. Are you familiar with a CS timer solvers tool?
Yeah.
Yeah, so let me switch sessions. So what I was just doing is like go to the solvers tool, go to Pyraminx V, giving yourself a scramble, and then trying to find the V intuitively for I don't know I don't know how strong you are with this now, but probably like
Not
try to find yeah,
not strong.
probably try to find every 3 or 4 move V that's available on the scramble. So in the
Wait,
scramble,
solvers. Oh, I'm in
yeah,
the
yeah,
wrong
yeah.
one. Peer V. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, so like I think it's fine a scramble search. Like looking for 5 move Vs might be too hard for you right now. But if you're scramble searching and you see like a 3 or 4 move V, probably you do that scramble and try to find every 3 or 4 move V that's listed on the scramble. So what I would do is like if it says there's a free move scramble on the D layer, don't necessarily look at what those free moves are, but try to find it yourself. If you can't find it, maybe allow yourself to peek at the first move and try to find the last 2 moves. And then once you find it, try to see the whole thing. There you go. I saw
Yeah.
that.
So like for
And then once
yellow here,
yeah.
I'm trying to think how I would execute that.
I can set it up.
Wait, did I just do it wrong?
Yeah, it
Man,
was.
I messed up the. Hang on.
Do finger tricks? There you go.
I feel so clumsy. It's green front, yellow bottom.
Yeah, green front, yellow bottom.
URLU. This. Okay, so yellow here.
Yeah,
This.
do you see?
This.
There's a free
So
move V on yellow.
yeah, I see it. So what I'm thinking is to execute this, you want to hold it like this, where the green, red, yellow center is in the back, so that the open slot is in the front, right?
Yes, I would. Yes, you should do that to avoid rotations.
Oh yeah, and you can very easily do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so play
So I
play
want.
around with a lot of the V building.
Yeah, like on one scramble, like spend like maybe like I'm fine if you spend like I don't think you probably need this. Like if you in theory needed 5 minutes on one scramble, I would suggest that. Like the way I got good at finding several solutions quickly and one looking a lot of solutions was first I worked on one looking as many V's as possible. So ideally, like I want you to eventually be seeing every free move V, and then eventually 4 moves. But maybe not an
Yeah,
inspection, but
I mean, I'm just looking
if
over all of
like
these
almost
scrambles on CS Timer, and essentially every single one has a 4 move V. Like
yeah,
occasionally there's a horrible one where they're all 5s, but
yeah,
that's crazy to me. I didn't realize that you could make
yeah.
Vs in 4 moves on average.
Yeah, Pyraminx is a very short move count. Like my solutions are in between like 9 to 12 moves usually. And but yeah. So like for like on a scramble, if you see like there's 4 move Vs listed on solvers, I also just trying to find all 4. If you can't find it, if it's too hard, then allow yourself to like peep at the first move or two. But then after you peep at the first move or two, undo them and try to find the whole thing again, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And
So a
since it's
lot
so
of this.
short, wait, anyway, since it's so short, every move should feel intuitive or could be understood intuitively. Like
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah.
how cross on free is short. There's no random moves on your cross solution, right? You should be able to explain why every move in the cross solution works with just some basic cube theory. Same idea here. Every move is either setting up to match something, or matching something, or like solving a center, right? Like
Right. Okay.
earlier you had I think you had like this V R prime L R prime, but like you can kind of think of this intuitively as like R prime matches this up, L solves it, matches it up, and R prime brings it down.
Yeah. Easy. I can do
Yeah,
that. Now that I know
yeah,
that the benchmark is like a 4 move V, it's just going to be a matter of putting in a few thousand times of like find all 4 Vs on a scramble, and after a few hundred, I'll have the reps, and after a few thousand, I'll be able to actually see into the second part of the solve.
yeah. Eventually, like there's also not that many different types of combinations to get a V. Like there's a
Yes.
lot of patterns you just come to recognize just with time. You can't really learn them algorithmically. It kind of just like your eyes will see them with due time. Same with cross, I guess, and free.
Hmm.
but like
Okay.
your eyes will
Are
come to
there?
see it, and there's just a lot of basic patterns you'll come to just like know.
Yeah. Are there circumstances where when you solve your V, it is okay to have the unsolved slot not be in the front?
For you, no. Like once
Yeah,
you're sub,
that's a good answer.
like
You suck, so not yet.
no, 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 no. But like until you learn, that's like what ML3 is. You ever hear of ML3?
I mean, I know it's an alg set. It
Yeah, it's
sounds
like
like that's just like more angles.
yeah, it's more angles. So like I would, this is an ML3 case here. Like I would just do it from that angle instead of rotating and then doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, until you learn that, I would advise against it. It shouldn't be like at most maybe like do like a half rotation, like kind of like the B move thing I taught you earlier with U moves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So
At
like if I one
most,
look to solve and I see that I can do it's like, solved V, solved edge here, back insert in, whatever. But other than that, it should be in the front.
yeah, I believe so.
Okay, great. So how do you approach L4E? Right now, I'm
Um,
literally reducing to 3 unsolved edges. Should I
yeah,
go
yeah,
through all the cases and learn them? And,
yeah.
and and to be
So
clear, I solve that back edge, like trying to create a good case. Like I can see how solving this edge into a spot like affects the next case so that I can set up to a 4 mover. But I don't know what
yes,
the correct way is to think about L4E.
yeah. So I think the correct way is, I mean, people often talk about intuitive L4E versus algorithmic L4E. I think that's kind of a bad distinction. I
Yeah.
think like you're doing the most intuitive version of L4E. You're solving edge in the back and then reducing to L3E, which gives you bad cases sometimes, but it's probably better than LBL still. Then there's people who learn all of L3 as algorithms. I suggest neither. I suggest going through learning every single case for L4E and learning the best alg possible for it, but learning the best alg intuitively and understanding it
Mhm.
intuitively.
Like
Like,
how you would learn F2L.
yeah, I think it's that kind of thing. Oops, I'm pulling up the wrong thing. But I would suggest you get your algs from pyraminx.net. There's an algorithm sheet here, and has all the algs you'll ever need, from L5E to ML3 to L4E. So I would suggest you go through the L4E sheet and learn learn every case. Usually the top alg on the sheet is best one, and learn a good alg, but then try to understand it intuitively. Like
Yeah.
every case should be, you should be able to understand every case intuitively. Like, for example, like this case, the alg taught is L prime, U prime, L, U prime, R, U prime, R prime. And if you break that down, it's just, if you break it down, you can kind of see if you do L prime U L, it gives a 2 flip, which is bad. But if
Mhm.
you solve the edge this way, it just gives you an insert again.
Yeah. Well,
Like all of
this is
L4E is
38
just like 2
cases.
inserts. Yeah, and it's
Yeah, it's
all
just
just sledges, hedges, or inserts. There's
yeah,
nothing
so
like,
this is just like substantially easier F2L where you
yeah,
have you learn
people,
triggers that do basic things and then you do it intuitively and then you find all the cases and you just figure out by looking at a case the best intuitive route to solve a case.
yeah, you should only be using the good algs. Like there's definitely very bad intuitive solutions I see people do. So like learn the good algs. I think the top algs are the best ones in terms of finger tricks.
Okay.
So learn the best algs. Don't just rely on random intuitive stuff. Have an alg for every case. Recognize it as a case, but understand how you're solving it intuitively.
All right.
It's not that different from F2L, I think. Elliot Perkins always talks about how Pyraminx has 0 algs. I think he's a bit dramatic with that statement, but there's truth to it, especially with L4E.
All right. That's not too bad at all then.
No, it's not as bad as people think.
Okay. So
Um, yeah,
inspection
this shouldn't take you
then.
that long. Mhm.
Yeah. Inspection. Um Obviously, the end state is one looking, where I can plan the V, I can figure out where all the edges will end up, and I'm just like, boom, I'm just there.
Yeah.
But realistically, what should I be trying to do? Like inspect a V plus what? Because like with my beginner's version of L4E where I'm solving the back edge, at the very least with that, I can inspect the V and then I can inspect where that one edge will end up. And then I've kind of looked an extra step into the solve from inspection. Whereas with this, it feels like I can inspect the V, but then the next level up of inspection would be like inspecting all of the L4E. Does my question make
Yeah,
sense? Like, what am I doing after I inspect the V if I can't one
yeah,
look
yeah,
here?
yeah. So I think I'm gonna want you to start forcing yourself to one look V every solve. This will come once you start finding the four movable block build solutions. This will this will be easier, right? The more efficient your V's are, the easier they are to one look. Um, I think I also want you to start trying to one look. I wrote this all down in the document, but I want you to also start one looking the entire solution on free move V's or less than free move V's. This shouldn't be that hard ever. I mean, this will come. Do this after you learn L4E, right? Because
Yeah.
obviously you should know how to recognize the case. Um, in the meantime, also, like if you one look at V, I think it might be helpful to start tracking where your last edge will be, this last edge of the bottom layer. That'll help with look ahead and reducing pauses and kind of tracing it. That's because if you trace, because people when they're learning L4E often rely on the last edge of their V, right, to recognize
Mm,
cases, and
okay.
tracing where that be as you're solving the V will kind of help you look ahead, so to speak, or pause less.
Yeah.
But right now in inspection, I want you to work on block building your V, one looking, or well, I wouldn't expect you one look yes using intuitive L4E right now. Once you know actual L4E, like one looking easy V's, maybe not AUF right now. That might be a bit unrealistic right now, but I also think you should probably dedicate like a second or two in inspection to mentally like visualizing yourself doing tips and planning it out.
Yes. Okay. So
Like I
plan out
find that if
tips
I
and V in inspection, and then the last edge of the D layer is the recognition point for a lot of L4E, so track that as well. And then eventually while I'm looking.
yeah, like track where it will be. Kind of in the
Cool.
same sense that like for free referee, if you're not one looking for a pair yet, it's often recommended to kind of trace where it'll be. I think it's kind of analogous to that in a sense, at least at your
Okay.
level.
Yeah, that makes sense. For the fastest people, how many solutions are you one looking? On
A
two by
lot.
two, from like what Anthony told me, they'll one look like 3 or 4 different solution paths because the
Yeah,
solve is so complex. How many are you doing on Pira? Because it seems like these are much simpler solutions.
depends on what counts as one looking. Like if I see a two move V, I'm probably considering like that's already like free solution. You can either think of that as one solution or like free solutions because I know a lot of alternate algs and stuff or algs from different angles. So if I see a two move V, like right away, I'm probably imagining myself doing it from different algorithms, contemplating which one's best and different angles. But I'd say like I don't know if you count alternate algorithms as different like one look solutions, like it could be as high as like 5, 6, maybe a bit more. But
Mm-hmm.
but if it's actual different solutions, maybe like 3, 4 a solve. But like I try to check each face, and I try to like check like I try to check each face on a scramble, and I am one looking all of it.
Okay.
But I know pretty quick. I know pretty quickly like what to like disregard and stuff. Also, yeah, but I'll say like 4 or 5 is definitely realistic
Great.
at my level.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, how many solves a day do you and then the other top Pyraminxers do? If it's inconsistent day to day, what is it approximately per week?
I don't really know if other top pyramid mixers do. I don't really do that much pyramid mix anymore. Like, I still really, really, really want Gnar, and I'll probably do like 100 solves a day before the comp. Like, I have a comp of pyramid mix Saturday, and Friday I'll probably do like 100 solves. But I low-key spend most of my time just working on all-rounding right now. Like I always
Okay.
consider myself an all-rounder first and foremost, and then Pyraminx is just the event I happen to be best at. It happen to be my favorite.
Yeah.
I don't do that much Pyra anymore, as much as people think. But at my peak, I was probably doing like an hour a day, maybe
Okay.
2 hours a day, maybe. Yeah.
Cool.
But now most of my practice is like actually towards big cubes and mega because I'm kind of bad at those events. Not bad, but not where I want to be, and they're fun and they're easy to improve at. So I'm working on that mostly lately. For other top Pyramix solvers, I don't really know. I think a lot of them only do Pyra.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah. How much time do we have? Okay,
A few
perfect.
more minutes. If we have anything else to cover, we can. But I think I have what I need to get
Well,
started.
I think we should keep going. We have 15 minutes left. No?
Sure.
Um, what else did I write? Um, yeah, I, yeah, you kind of have everything you need for in terms of your 12 solves. But I'll give you a game plan, like the order which I want you to practice things in. That's not to say you get rid of the first practice technique, but I think first you should worry about fixing your outdated finger tricks. Like, I think like I want you to stop doing U and U prime moves from a back so much, and just do it from a front more because this will require less movement because there's less traveling time to get here versus here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Mindless finger tricks, like mindless turning practice, will help get us into your muscle memory. Um, I want you to experiment with block building. When you're building your centers, like there should always be a way to try to build one or two edges with your centers. Like if you have the V L R prime, it might be intuitive to do R prime L. So when trying to solve centers, consider different ways to do it to influence your V edges. That's how you learn basic block building. We already went over that for Pyraminx V thing. And also learn alternate inserts to reduce rotations, and learn alternate inserts to preserve blocks. Like, I think it was, yeah, on one of your solves, you had this insert, and you could have preserved a block. Like, disregard the fact that it solves a cube. But you had a block like this, and this piece
Yeah.
was ready to be inserted, and you should have done this to preserve it, but you did something like this, which broke the block and gave you a weird case.
Yeah.
Yeah, so get comfortable just by doing slow solves and by just doing a lot of solves. Get used to learning preserve stuff and be flexible with how you insert edges into your bottom layer. Learn L3 intuitively. We already went over that. Solve tips simultaneously. We already went over that. Tips only scrambles. Then I'm going to want you to focus on V's again. I'm trying to force stuff with one look V every solve. For solves that have free move V or less, you really should be one looking, assuming you know your alpha reads by now. Trace where your final V edge will be. Yeah, but that's my game plan for you. Do you have any other questions or anything?
I don't. I just need to get solving. I think I have the knowledge now. To
Okay.
get a lot of the way.
I feel bad ending early. I feel bad ending early.
Oh, dude, don't feel bad. The point of the session is for me to learn, and if I learn in less time, that doesn't mean it was less valuable. I think that's an indication that it's more valuable.
Perfect. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's really it. I'll get to work and let you know how things go. I've got a couple rounds in 3 weeks or something, so I'll grind until then and see how it goes.
Yeah, if you have any questions about like how to finger trick a case or anything, or like just anything I didn't explain well, feel free to shoot me a DM. Like, once a student, always a student is my philosophy.
Yeah, you got it. I totally will.
Yeah, sounds good. Looking forward to hearing from you about your improvement and whatnot. I think sub free is in reach, assuming you practice and do everything I told you.
Yeah, I mean, you said your solutions are like 9 to 12 moves on average?
Probably, yeah.
That's crazy. So like 12 moves, all you got to do is like a little over 4 TPS and have a good strategy for tips, and you're sub 3.
It's 9 to 12 moves for body plus tips.
Right. But like, let's say you pick up the cube and you get your tips and your
Yeah,
pickup
yeah,
in
yeah,
like half a second, and then you're turning at 4 point something TPS, you're sub 3.
yeah. It's pretty. I don't think pure is as hard as people make it out to be. I think a lot of it is just training your mind to understand how it works conceptually, because it's a bit of a weird shape and it's kind of different than other puzzles. But all the algs are intuitive. The solutions are kind of all intuitive. Like I don't really think of my pure solves in terms of method anymore. Like yeah, I do a lot of L4 read, but I kind of understand all my solutions as intuitive. Sometimes I'll just do random block building stuff that just solves it. Sometimes I do pseudo stuff. Where I'm going with it is like, the better you get at Pyraminx, the more intuitive it becomes. And that's why I don't think it's that hard. It's just a matter of
Yeah.
understanding the way the Pyraminx works, right?
Cool. All right.
Cool.
Well, I'll get to work. I'll document
I'm a
how I
fan
do,
of.
and we'll see.
I'm excited. Nice meeting you, Brandon.
Yeah. You too, Parker. Bye for now.
Farewell.